Good afternoon. Good evening. I'm sorry. Good evening. Thank all of you for being here tonight. Today is March the 7th, 2023. Our thought for today is alone we can do so little. Together we can do so much. That's by Helen Keller. I'm going to go ahead and officially call the board meeting to. And we have to order tonight. We have a special guest with us, Pastor Mark. Pastor Mark, if you would please come on up. He likes to be called Pastor Mark, so I'm going to call him Pastor Mark. Thank you so much for being here. Pastor is new to the community. He's the pastor of First United Methodist Church. Sir, thank you for being here tonight. If you would, tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your ministry, and if you would, pray for our community.
Would love to. Thank you, Chairman Baines. So I guess what I bring to this tonight that might be a little unique is, like you said, I am new to the community. And Reverend Baines, you'll appreciate this. I preached on humility this last Sunday, so I don't feel like I really ought to get up here and talk about all the ministries of the church. Instead, here's what I'm going to offer. Like all the churches that God has put on God's good planet, we strive to do all the good we can, and we strive to change the world one day at a time. But here's what I want to do before I pray. As a new resident to Newton County, my wife and we moved here in July. And I just wanted to say, this is my first time, my first opportunity to meet the current Board of Commissioners. To all of you, and to all the commissioners that have preceded you, I don't know if you hear this enough. Thank you. This is an amazing, amazing county to move into. I'm a Methodist pastor. I move from time to time. And this has been one of the softest landings that I have ever experienced. And I just want to say thank you for all the hours of work that probably doesn't get appreciated and doesn't get recognized. Thank you for all that you have done. Would you pray with me?
Thank you.
Lord God Almighty, we pause here at the beginning of this very important civic work to recognize you. You are the center of it all. You are the reason for it all. And you are the one that we live our lives to the glory of for it all. We invite your Spirit to enter into this historic courthouse once again, to move through us, to bring about an attitude of gratitude, to be in the midst of all the conversations and the work of this night, to bring together many different commissioners from 5 districts, to bring together the stakeholders, to bring together the homeowners, to bring together the business workers, all the people who make up this county. Lord, we invite your blessings upon us. We give thanks for the blessings we've already received. And we simply say, thanks be to God. For it is in God's holy name we pray. And let all the people of God say, amen.
Amen. If you would lead us in our pledge.
As you are able, would you please stand? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, sir. I do have a token of appreciation for you, but I do want to tell you thank you. The First United Methodist Church does a lot in the community, and we look forward for you guys to continue to do that and up under your leadership, so thank you so much. Next, before we adopt the agenda, I want to take the opportunity to apologize to those. I have apologized to some already, but to those that wanted to speak at the last board meeting and you didn't get an opportunity, I do extend my apologies to you. We do look forward to hearing from you tonight in citizens' comments. With that being said, there are a couple of changes we do have on the agenda tonight. We want to remove item number 7. Remove it, yes, sir. And we want to add 9A, our parametrics to them to apply for grants on behalf of the county. And I seek a motion with those changes, please.
Second.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Mason. Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you so much. I do want to take an opportunity to remind us, guys, if you would, please talk into the microphone. That way you can be heard throughout the audience tonight. Next on the agenda is item number 5, citizens' comments. This is an opportunity that we allow citizens to make comments about agenda topics only. You have 3 minutes to do so. If you would, please come and state your name and your address for the record, please. You may come at this time. Agenda topics only. Thank you. Next is the chairman's report. I don't have anything to report tonight. Ms. Ham.
Mr. Chairman, I'm looking at the agenda. We're on item number 8, our consent agenda.
Yes. I seek a motion that we approve the consent agenda, please.
Second.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Mason. Any discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, the next item we have are the items for discussion and consideration. The next item is item number 9, Development Services, Newton County Comprehensive Plan Update by GMC Consultants.
Thank you. Ms. Applewhite, if you would.
Yes. Good afternoon, Chairman, members of the board. Our GMC team, today we have Mr. Glenn Coyne, Mr. Colanis Johnson. They're going to give you just a brief update on what we've completed so far with the comprehensive plan. Just to give you an idea of all the information that we have gathered so far in preparation to bringing the draft before you sometime next month, so we can get it to the DCA on time. So I am going to hand it, I will be here in case we have additional questions, but I'm going to hand it over to them now.
Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you, Shana. Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, thank you for having us. As Shana said, my name is Glenn Coyne, and with me is Colanis Johnson. We are with GMC, helping the county with the update to the comprehensive plan. We want to take just a few minutes to give you an update as to where we are in the process of putting together the comprehensive plan update. Colanis is going to walk you through some of the responses and feedback that we've heard from the public so far. And then we'll finish out letting you know how some of the goals and action items are coming together and discuss how our character area map is being put together. And then leave you with our schedule to finish out the project over the next few months. Just a reminder, a lot of people are involved with this process of putting the plan together. We have the project team, which consists of our group and Shana's staff, as well as the GIS staff here with the county, has been really helpful. Lots of other department heads have helped us with data and with stakeholder interviews. We have a steering committee. They've met twice, and we're scheduled to meet with them one more time. This is a group that you all appointed. Really hardworking group. The photos that you see are representative of some of those meetings. We'll show those again in a minute. We've had a series of public open houses and online surveys. Colanis will talk to you about that. And we gave an update to the Planning Commission last week and giving you an update tonight. And again, it will come back to you to consider the draft plan once that's put together in about a month or so. Just again, a reminder, this is a process that's 9 months. We have about 3 months left of the process, so we're about 2/3 of the way through. The elements you can read there on the screen, these are the things that are included in the comp plan. And as you can see, that's why it's called comprehensive. A lot of things are in here. Land use, transportation, parks and recreation, housing, all through the list. So we'll talk about this a little bit more later in the presentation. Just to show you a graphic of what we've been working on, we started with data collection, and that moved into a community visioning process where we listened to the public and talked to a lot of people. That then resulted in our goals and our strategies for the plan, and then ultimately we will leave you with an implementation plan, which we also call a community work program. So you'll be able to take our recommendations and turn those into real projects. Wanted to tell you some of the quantitative data that we've been pulling together, lots of information about your county. This is just one of them. These are our population projections for how we see Newton County growing. The 2020 census, as most of you probably know, you were at just over 112,000. We predict that you'll grow by 21%, which will take you to 136,000 by 2030, and then another 16.5% by 2040, resulting in a population of approaching 160,000 folks. So we anticipate a lot of growth for Newton County, and we don't see it slowing down. So making the planning process even that more important. I'm going to step aside for a moment, and Kalanis is going to talk to you about some of the results of the public input that we've received so far.
Good evening. As Glenn mentioned, we had public open house meetings. Some of you were there in these workshops. We had one in each of your commission districts, 5. We also had online community survey. We have some results of that coming up shortly. There's also a project website maintained by the county and with frequent project updates. We provide that information on a pretty consistent basis. What we're doing now is an update for the BOC, for the commissioners. We mentioned the Planning Commission update we did last week, and public hearings. We did one public hearing at our kickoff, and there will be another public hearing toward the end. Here are some of the examples, methods, if you will, of the public outreach. Several ways that we use to reach out to the public. There were flyers, there were email blasts to some of your constituents, each commissioner area, the county website, as I mentioned, and staff also had flyers posted and distributed throughout the community. And as you see, again, here's just like a nice example of what was out, and the actual bottom right, a QR code for the online survey, which I will discuss shortly. Again, public open houses, they were held in November. We had a total of 88 attendees throughout the 5 meetings. You see here some of the comments that were received. Again, just a few of the comments. Affordable single home, family homes are needed. Parks, people wanted improvements with parks. Some individuals mentioned updating ordinances for the surrounding area. Public open houses continued, goals, and so some of the goals that, we had unique outreach methods and exercises that were performed at each, and we did the same thing at each of the 5 meetings, so it wasn't like one particular district heard something, the other didn't. But goals overall, the highest rated goal at the meetings were economic development. Wanted to support the existing businesses and create an environment that's attractive to future businesses. Overall, the lowest rated goal at these meetings, housing. And this is providing a full suite of life cycle housing to meet the demands. Other topics at the meetings, budget. The highest funded projects, roadway improvements, and lowest funded were transportation alternatives. This was an interesting exercise we did at each of the meetings where we gave the participants 4 $100 bills, and there were 5 buckets. They could take the money and put into the bucket they felt as though it was important. And so this is how the ratings turned out with that particular exercise. We also had a mapping exercise, a very interactive exercise where citizens were able to write and draw on a map and give us insight to some of their, we had yellow dots and blue dots. The blue dots indicated your favorite places within the county, and the yellow dots would indicate your places that needed improvements. As you see, Covington Square, Lake Varner, Turner Lake, throughout the process were the top favorite places. In terms of the top needing improvements were Brown Bridge Road, Crowell Road, traffic, Salem Road, and Highway 278. And again, here is just like a depiction of that exercise, almost like a heat map, if you will. Again, the blue dots, and this is kind of taking all the dots together and kind of showing you where the consistent markings were. Blue were favorite places, again, yellow, places of improvement. Throughout the 5 meetings, there were a total of 197 stickers that were placed on the maps. Next, we again mentioned an online community survey. Everybody was not able to come out physically to the actual meetings, so we also have this online community survey to reach those who, for various reasons, did not want to come out. This was open between the 19th of October and December the 16th. We had a total of 296 total respondents for the online survey. If you look at the graphic on the right, District 1, 28%, District 2, 3, and 4, and so on. District 1 had the most respondents for this particular effort. Some of the items for the survey: employment status. 25% of the individuals that took the survey were retired or not employed. 18% worked in the city of Covington, so on and so forth. Home ownership was also a question that we asked. 91% of them owned their home, while 6% rented their homes. Again, other survey topics. The highest and the lowest priority for the county: traffic was the highest, and the walking, biking trails rated the lowest for the survey. In terms of county public services with the highest satisfaction rating, your county water and sewer services ranked very high, as you see, at 60%. Another question we asked in the survey: what are your top 3 reasons for living in Newton County? Small town character ranked high, proximity to family and friends, and the affordability of property and homes also ranked high. Okay, let's see. Here we go. Another question: parks and recreation. We asked a question. 70% of the individuals, a little over 70 actually, said that they must drive to the nearest park. 43% reported that they're pretty satisfied with the existing network of sidewalks and trails. And again, trails and multi-use paths were ranked as a top priority for the county. For the area, the topic of housing via the survey, 48% of the respondents said they would like more single-family residential and less mobile homes for the future. Economic development, very important topic. The respondents thought that the highest economic priority should be attracting more retail and restaurants, while the lowest priority is offering incentives to industrial companies to locate to Newton County. Also, those same respondents, they would like more family entertainment businesses in the county and less hotels. As you see, 76% of the respondents mentioned that. We also asked about transit, the environment, and broadband internet. 29% of the respondents mentioned they would like to see the express bus that stops right now in Rockdale to extend out to Newton. 41% said that again, your water quality conservation ranked very high. And in terms of accessibility to the internet, broadband in particular, 77% mentioned that they had it, and while 13% said they did not have access. Another thing we did, we actually took it a little further because the age of the first survey, we decided to reach out to the youth. When you're doing a 5, 10, 20-year plan, you think about the youth, well, they will be in the future. Just because you're 20, 21 now, you'll be raising families and so forth in the future. We did a second survey for just 3 weeks in February for high school and college students. And here again is a graphic of the results. We had a little over 790 respondents. The top 3 best things about the county, according to this demographic: places to hang out, they like the shopping that's here, and the parks, open space, and nature. We also asked a general question for the youth: what would make the county better? Reducing gun violence was a comment, making the schools cleaner, better protection in schools, and more malls, food, and things in walking distance. Stakeholder interviews. Again, we had 7 stakeholders, and these are individuals that were, I guess, requested by you all. And so between the 13th and 21st of December, we did 2 more in February. These individuals provide excellent insight into the county. These guys are actually on county boards, departments, business owners, developers, so on and so forth. Their everyday life is strongly affected by a comprehensive plan. And so we thought they provided a unique perspective. Also, we had former commissioners as well as former planning commissioner members to take these interviews. Next, Glenn will come up and talk a little more detail about the goals and strategies for this process.
Thanks, Kalanis. I know we're throwing a lot of statistics at you, and you may be saying, okay, so what? Well, really, with a lot that we've heard from the survey data, what we've heard from the public open houses, what we looked at your last plan, which was completed in 2018, what is still relevant, what has changed, what needs to be updated, and then all that quantitative data that I mentioned, the population projections, the business licenses, all of the other data that we have, all of those things feed into what becomes the comprehensive plan and our goals. And so you can see there a series of 8 goals. It's a little tough to read, but I have them on the next slides as well. But this was particularly presented as a way that we did the ranking at the public meetings, so you could see how folks could read each of the different goals that we had come up with, and then that's how we got them to help us rank them. But looking ahead to what those are, again, it's the topics that we've been talking about all evening to you. Housing, how do we meet all these new folks that are coming in? How do we allow for the types and enough housing for the folks that are coming? Transportation, people identify traffic as their highest priority, and that should be no surprise to you. So we're going to have to look at which corridors and which intersections may need some additional attention. Economic development, we heard loud and clear, and our data is we're getting good large industries here already. Let's now focus on local businesses and things for families and entertainment oriented. Natural and cultural resources, you have some incredible assets in the community already. We don't want to ruin those, so the growth has to respect where those natural and cultural resources are to protect them for the future. Community facilities, these are buildings, these are your infrastructure, things that need to be maintained and upgraded. Those will be identified. Working with your neighbors and working with other governments and other entities is an important part of bringing this plan about. And then related to Parks and Recreation, you saw lots of impact and reaction from folks on their desire for a high level of Parks and Recreation. And then broadband, we bring that up because the state is asking us to take a very careful look at counties, especially rural areas, making sure that folks have access to broadband in the future. So we're being asked to include that in the plans. I wanted to talk, before I finish up on the last topic, we are putting together something called a character area map, and that isn't a land use map, it's not a zoning map, it's a map that depicts the character of the different areas throughout the county. And so we've heard many things, and I'll show you in a minute some of the inputs to that, but over and over again we heard rural versus urban in Newton County. We heard east versus west, and they're very different areas throughout the county. We want the map to reflect that so that as you think about the future, you can make sure that that's a consideration. Housing, there's areas of the county that Kalanis and I have been riding around, making sure that we know the county. We're taking photos, we're seeing what it looks like. We know that the whole county is not appropriate for high density housing. We know there's some areas of the county that have enough housing. So where are those areas that we want to look at opportunities for new housing to go in, and what should it look like? Economic development, we've talked about already. People like the small town character. People are looking to be able to walk to certain things, not everything, but there's certain nodes throughout the community that we think are developing. And again, where are those retail and residential restaurant areas going to go? A lot of that has to do with the fact you don't allow liquor by the drink in the county. So why would a restaurant go out in some of these areas? So that's a consideration. Is that something you want to talk about or not? Highway 278, we see that as a very, very, very important part of the future of Newton County. It shouldn't surprise you. What happens between Covington and the county line to the east? And we think there's some real opportunities to look at nodes and not have that become one just long commercial strip. which I think would not be what you would be looking for. And then again, the environmental considerations that we talked about as well. So currently you have a map that looks something like this. It identifies lots of the neighborhoods. It is your character area map today. We see this still being retained as an important reference point for the county going forward. We also took a look at the watersheds. As you hear zoning cases each month through the Planning Commission, through the Board of Commissioners, it's always identified which watershed it's located in. That's an important identity that the county has. We want to make sure we retain that. Where is water and sewer service available? Who provides it? So where water is and where sewer is has a lot to do with the density of development that you'll see in the future. And so we've got to respect that. And then your current land use. What's out there now? Where are the sensitive areas? Where is it built up? Where are the city limit lines? That's another very important layer. So what we do, and this is just a graphic to show you how we're putting it together, is we really just use each of these things we talked about as a layer to come up with that character area map. We don't have the final one to show you. We're still working on it, but it is coming together using the information that we shared with you tonight. So to finish up, again, thank you for your time and your attention to this update, but we are working, as I mentioned, on finalizing that map, finishing what the goals and strategies look like, and we will have a draft plan coming together at the end of the month. We have a final steering committee meeting planned here in March, and we will do a formal public hearing on the draft in April. We then have to send it for review to the state and the regional commission. They get a window of time to review it, and then it will come back to you for formal adoption, which it has to be done by June 30 of 2023. So with that, we're happy to try to answer any questions you might have. We didn't want to take up too much time, but we wanted to give you an idea of the breadth of the things we've been working on. So thank you.
Thank you. Commissioners, any questions? Commissioner Sanders.
I just have one question. The survey you did for the youth, did you specify the location of where they live and also their age range on that survey?
Yes, we did. We just didn't present that information, but we captured the ages, and then I don't know if we asked them the district they live in, but we might have asked them if they were in the city or in the county.
Because that would make a huge difference of what's available on where they live.
Sure. We do have a geographical measure, though. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right.
And by the way, we were extremely pleased with the response that we got from the students. So whoever did the publicity with that, we want to extend thanks to.
Anyone else? Anything else, Ms. Shana? All right. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, the next item on the agenda is item number 9A regarding I-parametrics, a resolution to apply for grants on behalf of Newton County, presented by our attorney, Mr. Patrick Jogstetter.
Thank you. Thank you all. The resolution before you is a resolution that will authorize the grant writer that you've already hired, I-Parametrics, to submit grants on behalf of the county without having to come seek approval before the grant application is filed. It doesn't mean she can accept, or the I-Parametrics can accept grants on your behalf, but it just authorizes I-Parametrics to submit grant applications. And the procedure that I've laid out in this proposal is as follows: that I-Parametrics is authorized to coordinate with county commissioners and county staff to identify county projects, programs, and undertakings which may be eligible for grant funding. That I-Parametrics is authorized to submit applications for grant funding for those projects, programs, and undertakings on behalf of the county. That I-Parametrics would provide copies of all documents submitted in furtherance of any grant application for grant funding to the county manager and county finance director immediately upon submission. And that at the next board meeting, the county manager or finance director will present those grant applications to you. And that you are not, the board, the county is not obligated to accept any grant funding or to undertake any of these projects unless and until this board has approved the same by majority vote. That's the proposal for you. What that will do, hopefully, is avoid the situation that we have found ourselves in a few situations where you get notices of grant funding and you board members don't know where to go with those grant opportunities, and or you run up against an impossible deadline. Most of these grant applications require that the projects have some level of momentum behind them already, something like a plan or a budget, or even if it's a grant that's going to require the acquisition of property. A lot of times those grants require you to identify the property and show evidence that you've made progress toward buying them. And we want to give the county the best opportunity to take advantage of appropriate grant opportunities. And this resolution, in my mind, will achieve that for you. And you retained iParametrics for this very purpose, to submit these grant applications. And this will provide a less burdensome methodology for iParametrics to know when to get started. So I'm happy to answer any questions. This proposal before you is just a proposal that I came up with based on the feedback that I had heard from the board at the last meeting and otherwise. And I'm happy to make whatever revisions you deem necessary, or would invite you to consider the resolution as it's drafted.
Thank you. Let's get a motion on the floor, and then we'll open it up for discussion. Can I get a motion, please? It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Mason. Any discussion? Commissioner Sanders.
Patrick, does this also coincide or work with the current grant that has been approved? Because I did forward the final approval for the $4 million grant over to iParamedics, and they were happy to work on it, but of course, we have to work that out.
Yeah, that grant opportunity would fall under the same standard that once the consultant has gotten to the point where it's a clear application and all of the boxes have been checked, come back to the board will consider it, make a determination. So this would apply to any grant application, any grant opportunity, and it would essentially untie iParametrics' hands so that they know they have the authority to move forward.
But I want to specify, because it's no longer an application. It was already approved, and HUD sent the final letter that it was approved. So now it's in the hands of sending the documentation back to them and signing agreements.
And again, I think this would authorize them to proceed, but understand the application, the grant won't be accepted, nor will the project be authorized until this board votes on it.
Any more discussion? Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you. I mean, I'm for that 100%. I think that's it's an idea. How much more, by them possibly looking at a grant, would it cost us? Because I know the money you have to pay in, the money comes from somewhere, Patrick.
You will be paying. I don't remember the details of their contract. It is there's an hourly fee associated with their work. So obviously, every time they submit a grant application, there will be a cost associated with it. It's capped $10,000 per. I think it was capped at $10,000 per project. So, and a lot of these projects, you can roll that cost into a grant as well.
Mm-hmm. And just one last follow-up question. I think last time we kind of talked a little bit about it with Ms. Kennedy, that's who we were referring to, I think.
That's right.
Was here. She said that we were kind of approaching, I think, $400,000 at that point, close to that when she was here last time.
That was on their fees for the ARPA management. This is a separate contract. This is a entirely separate contract to the same consultant.
Okay.
Right.
So they would probably get about the $400,000 then plus whatever else they may get.
That's right.
Any more discussion? All in favor? It passed 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, the next item we have on the agenda is item number 11. It is reflecting our county attorney requesting approval of a modification to the service delivery strategy of an exchange between the City of Oxford and the Newton County Water and Sewerage Authority as required by the Georgia Department of Community Affairs.
Thank you. Item number 10. Thank you.
Thank you again. So I've asked Mr. Hopkins from the Water Authority to join me. What this before you is a relatively, I don't want to say bookkeeping, but it's almost a bookkeeping matter for this board to consider. There's an existing service delivery strategies agreement with respect to the provision of water and sewer services. You're a party to it, not because you provide those services, but because you're the county. There has been a small change in the service areas, which is what that service delivery agreement addresses, between Oxford and the Water Authority. And I'm going to let Mr. Hopkins explain that to you. But in order to properly submit the change in the service delivery strategies agreement, this board must approve it. So all you're doing is approving the change that the impacted parties have already agreed to. Now I'm going to let Mr. Hopkins take it from here.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, thank you for letting me come here tonight
Good evening,
to speak on this. In 2021, we came before you with the City of Covington, which what I would consider a major service delivery modification, and y'all graciously approved that. Tonight, as the county attorney said, we're talking about 3 parcels along Airport Road, and they will transfer from the Water and Sewer Authority to the City of Oxford. It really doesn't make sense for us to have those parcels. Right now, the water main we have there is a very small water main, and it's feeding the cattle trough. So Oxford has intent, it's just north of the airport. And so as you can see here in the blue box, this is the location of the only proposed modification that we're asking for tonight. And here in the green parcels, and then you see the blue water line coming down along here, that's reverting back to Oxford. So the request tonight is to, as the county attorney alluded to, the county does have to sign off on these. We do have the City of Covington approved on February the 21st, and then Mayor Edie from Oxford and the council approved on 2/20. And so we definitely need your blessing on this, and then we need to have 2 other cities in order for us to transfer these parcels to the City of Oxford and make it legal according to the Department of Community Affairs.
Thank you, sir. Can I seek a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I get a second? It's been motioned by Commissioner Mason and second by Commissioner Cowan. Any discussion? Commissioner Henderson.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, and I can remember just a couple of years ago that the town of Oxford was kind of wanting to do this.
Yes, sir.
And so I think it's a great idea, and I think they'll be very happy with the decision. One quick question. The sewer, this sewer too, right? Or would
It will be sewer, but our nearest sewer is miles away. So Airport Road there, Dry Indian Creek sewer outfall that serves Oxford now can be extended back. Let me get back to here. So Dry Indian Creek, the sewer outfall is about right here. And so it would come back up to the blue line and easily serve. So it's a slam dunk for Oxford.
Yes, because there was a few residents on the end were saying why they can't have water.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
And I think that would kind of show that up a little bit too.
Yes, sir. This should help that. Thank you for your comments.
Thank you. Any more discussion? All in favor? Thank you. It passes 5-0. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank y'all very much.
Thank
Have
you.
a good night.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, the next item we have is item number 11 from our Information Services Department, requesting approval of a network security assessment and business process review.
Good evening, Greg.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Here tonight before you to ask your blessing on an agreement with JSCM Group, the amount of $24,875 for a top-down network security assessment. This is going to include a business process review with information services, with county leadership, with human resources, and with finance. This is a very important part. We'll have network and server testing. We'll also be testing our data loss prevention capabilities. We're testing our endpoints, our computers, our laptops. There'll also be network penetration testing, both external and internal. This project would probably take about 2 to 4 days, depending upon the vendor's timetable.
Thank you, sir. Guys, let's take a motion, please. It's been motioned by, can I get a second? Second. It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Cowan. Any discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Chairman, we also have Mr. Greg Mann. This is going to present item number 12, Information Services as well, requesting Board of Commissioners to authorize Chairman's signature of security consulting agreement with JSCM for trial of incident response planning and threat modeling services.
This is a no-cost agreement. This trial of this service will be funded by 3 of our 15 existing support block hours we have with JSCM Group. Basically, this is going to be an incident response plan workshop. They come in, they give us a cybersecurity incident to basically walk through in a tabletop exercise. They denote how we handle that exercise, advise us through how we respond to that exercise, and then give us tips and tricks on how we can further better our cybersecurity incident response. Again, this is no cost.
Thank you, sir. I seek a motion, please. It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Mason. Any discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Greg.
Mr. Chairman, the next item we have is number 13. We have Mr. Chester coming forward for Public Works, requesting approval for the chairman to execute a project framework agreement with GDOT to begin the engineering phase on the widening of Brown Bridge Road for Salem Road to Jack Neely Road.
Good evening, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The county has $350,000 that's already programmed in the TIP, which is the Transportation Improvement Plan, to begin the preliminary engineering on widening Brown Bridge Road, and we talked about that at length. And so in order to access those funds, the county just needs to execute an agreement with GDOT for that, to receive the 80% grant out of the $350,000.
All right. I seek a motion, please.
So moved.
Can I get it? It's been motioned by Commissioner Mason and second by Commissioner Cowan. Any discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0.
And Mr. Chairman, we also have Chester's going to do number 14 as well, requesting approval to contract with Atlas Technical Consultants to provide construction drawing for the intersection improvements of Brown Bridge and Crowell Road as well.
Along with the widening of Brown Bridge, we'd like to improve the Crowell Road at Brown Bridge Road intersection. If you've been through it recently, it backs up and it's in pretty poor operational condition. And so basically we want to take it and straighten the intersection out. And it's going to require some right-of-way from the Oaks development. And I've been working with Atlas and the development to get them to donate the right-of-way. It's a pretty significant amount of property that they're willing to work with us on. So we'd like to go ahead and get that project going with local funds, with SPLOST monies. And in order to get that kicked off, we need to contract with Atlas Technical Consultants for $385,000. And that will give us the construction drawings that will take us to construction.
Thank you, sir. I seek a motion, please. Can I get a second? It's been motioned by Commissioner Henderson and second by Commissioner Edwards. Any discussion? Commissioner Sanders?
I just have one question. What budget is this coming out of?
This would be coming out of 2017 SPLOST.
Okay.
Any more discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chair, we're on item number 15. We have Mr. Patrick coming back for requesting approval of agreement to purchase real property, intersection improvements at Crowell Road and Harold Dobbs Road.
Good evening. Brian, could you zoom in on the drawing portion of that a little bit? So good evening. I have two items for you to consider. As you are all probably aware, one of the many projects that Mr. Clegg and his folks are working on is the intersection improvement at Crowell Road and Harold Dobbs Road. And what that project consists of is a realignment and improvement of the intersection. On the screen before you are the plans, and these plans are going to inform you what I'm asking you to do on both of these items. But the first item, item number 14, parcel number 4 is on the east side of Crowell Road. Crowell Road runs north and south. It's the road that's going up and down. The county is acquiring 0.655 acres from parcel number 4. The county valued that property, had an appraisal done back in 2021 for $16,000. We then began negotiating with the property owner to acquire that property. The property owner has agreed to sell the property for $18,709.68, and we're asking this board to authorize us to acquire the property. It's a voluntary sale at $18,709.68.
Thank you, sir. I seek a motion, please. I think it's district. Can we get a motion on the floor so we can, for discussion, please? Can I get a second? It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Henderson. Discussion. Commissioner Sanders.
Yes, sir. Was there an appraisal done for this?
Yes, there was an appraisal done in 2021 for $16,000.
Okay.
And before we undertook a new appraisal, which would have cost about $2,000, we reached out to the property owner to see what we could negotiate, and the result of those negotiations was $18,700.
And forgive me if I don't remember, so was this brought before the board to acquire that land, to have you initiate that process like it was done with the Monk property?
The project was authorized, and the way it works with road projects is when you authorize the project, we then acquire the right-of-way to achieve the project.
Okay.
Yep.
Any more discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you.
Next is item number 16. It's a little bit more complicated, and I'm going to explain it again with reference to the map in front of you. Parcels 1, 2, and 5 are on the west side of Crowell Road, and they are both north and south of Harold Dobbs Road. In order to complete the right-of-way improvement, it's necessary that the county acquire about a total of 2 acres from parcels 1, 2, and 5. So the county will be acquiring 3 sections of right-of-way from parcels 1, parcels 2, and parcels 5. The county appraised those properties, the portions that the county will be acquiring, at $56,243. And again, before we took any further action, we approached the property owner, and in this instance, the property owner agreed to donate the right-of-way, subject to the county's agreement to convey back to the property owner the old right-of-way, which on that drawing before you is parcel 6. And that is the little bit that runs kind of diagonal from Harold Dobbs Road up to Crowell Road. It was what will be the old roadbed for Harold Dobbs Road, which is the current Harold Dobbs Road. So the proposal before you today is to exchange parcel 6, which the county currently owns, for parcels 1, 2, and 5. Not the entire parcel, but the portion of the right-of-way we need from those parcels. We will be acquiring approximately 2 acres. We will be giving, if you approve it, in exchange for that 2 acres, we'll be giving to the property owner approximately 1 acre. The relative values of those properties, you will be receiving property worth approximately $56,243. You will be giving up property worth approximately $20,100. So this is one of those instances where it works out to the county's favor. The county comes out ahead by the tune of about $30,000. The property owner receives the benefit of not having that weird little corner that they would have if we didn't donate, if we didn't convey the property back to them. If we were to condemn this property, We would likely have to buy that little corner, which I would bet is probably another acre, maybe a little bit more. We would have to pay for that acre because that little strip of property will have essentially no value sitting by itself. So we would recommend you approve this exchange and allow us to proceed with acquiring this remaining bit of right-of-way at essentially no cost to the county except for giving up its old roadbed.
I seek a motion, please. Can I get a second, please? It's been motioned by Commissioner Cowan and second by Commissioner Edwards. Any discussion? Commissioner Sanders?
Where is the funding from this coming from in regards to both of the properties that we're purchasing?
Well, the item number 15, parcels 1, 2, and 5, the county won't be writing any checks. So that's a wash. The funding for the project as a whole, Chester, is it a 2017 SPLOST? It's a 17 SPLOST project.
And this is the area where they're about to build the 300 homes, correct? Is this the
I'm
area
not
where
sure
the homes
if-
are about to be built?
I'm not aware of a,
So Chester, can you come up, please? Thank you.
Yes, these parcels will be acquired from the developer, the owner of the property, and it's the Dobbs Landing development.
Okay. So this is needed because of the development?
It is, these parcels are needed solely for our intersection improvement, which was planned way before the development was in the works.
this was one of your 17 SPLOST projects.
Any more discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, we're at item number 17, the alcohol beverage license, the first reading, Watwanaya USA LLC, 3633 Salem Road, Covington, Georgia, 30016, licensee Sahil Watwanaya, District 2.
Thank you. That's the first reading. Next is citizens' comments. This opportunity we allow citizens to come up and make comments about a topic of your choice. If you would, you have 3 minutes to do so. Please come at this time. State your name and your address for the record, please. Citizen comments may come at this time.
Good afternoon, my name is Thelma,
Good evening.
and I just want to ask a question. We know we got the money for the home improvement. So whoever the lady is that's saying it, people have to go online. So I keep asking y'all, because a lot of people can't go online. So why can't y'all put an office here somewhere from Monday through Friday, either from 8 to 5 or from 9 to 5, to help these people out? Because people are hurting in this county. And y'all make us feel like we are second-class citizens, but we pay taxes. We vote to put y'all in office, but don't look like nobody is working for us. So what are we supposed to do if nobody's trying to help us? Y'all got people out here that are hurting. So when are y'all gonna decide to put an office here? Because at the rate we going, the money is going back. And I know somebody's seat is gonna be up pretty soon. So it's about the voters. Because all that stuff that went down at the last meeting, everything was personal. And this board shouldn't have been acting like it was acting. We're the laughing stock. I mean, because we should be adults. Y'all should have been adults. And if y'all got some issues, y'all need to come together as one and work your issues out instead of in public. Think about us sometime, because all these people out here, these are taxpayers. These are voters. All they just ask for is a little help. Is that too much to ask for? So I'm just asking you, please, put a place here in this county where the senior citizen, anybody that need help, can go and get help because we live here. A lot of us was born and raised here. There's nowhere else for us to go. We're paying taxes, some pay city and county taxes. So sometimes put y'all differences aside. Just look out for the little people, okay? Be as God does. He sit high, he look low. We put y'all in charge, but until y'all start helping us, then we still got a big problem in this county. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening, Archie Shepherd, 9169 Village Drive. I said I wasn't gonna come up here tonight, but it's something that bothered me. Something happened at the last meeting, and the attorney told us, he said that the people that owned that land had withdrawn. That was a lie. It hadn't did it, because I called the lady, and she said she never withdrawn it. The other thing is, I think it's about time, when this contract up, is to get another attorney. Get an in-house attorney, because this man is leading y'all down a rabbit hole. There's a lots of time he make decisions, he said, in my opinion. You don't know, Doreen. In his opinion, the last time, I could have did better than this on the issue that when they said that the nonprofits and the churches would have to have a license. I could have told y'all that was untrue. But he had to come back and undo it. So it's time for looking at an in-house attorney. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Annette Alston. A couple of things. Number one, listening to the planning and everything that was going on earlier, I would love to see in all of the planning that you're doing, particularly as it pertains to the subdivisions, that you consider adding in off-street parking areas that are accessible to the subdivisions. Reason being, there are a couple of reasons. I'm gonna try and get them in. Number one, you have a lot of people that are living in those subdivisions that are working contractors, plumbers, et cetera. They have vehicles that they park in their driveways and sometimes on the street. They're eyesores and often against covenants for those areas that have covenants and they become fights. It would be good if they had these off parking areas that were included in the planning between these subdivisions so people had options to park their vehicles, as well as private vehicles for people who have lots of kids and a vehicle for every single one, and they're parking them all on the street. So just a thought on that. And we could talk more about that, I just don't have time, but you don't want them to become parking areas for disabled. You can put things in place to make sure that doesn't happen. The area that you're building, that you're working on for Brown Bridge down to Jack Neely, you're widening in that area. I'm just going to assume that you're also going to put a traffic light up there because there are a lot of accidents that happen in that area. So I'm hoping that, you know, and all of that, that they would definitely consider putting traffic lights there. Now, as pertains to the last meeting, I'm going to just say, I pray that we never see anything like that again. I'm looking forward to Commissioner Sanders putting forth ideas that you all support, and I stop seeing them blasted all the time. And I'm not just talking about the last meeting, I'm talking about meetings going back. It seems like everything she brings forth gets slammed down. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but this is what I'm seeing, and I think this is what other people are seeing, and it's given a very negative perception of you all, and which is why people think things are personal. So we hope that changes. That's all I have time to say today.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening. Frederick Johnson, 1036 Highway 162. And let me thank you, board, for doing something with these microphones, okay? The sound system, thank you so much. At least we can hear now. I got a couple of items I'd like to put before you here. And like in 2021, this board voted to align Moat Road to 162. I still haven't seen any stops or any paint or anything like that. I think, you know, we fixed to do something up at Harold Dobbs Road, that realign that one. So I think Moat Road need to be aligned also. Spring Hill Park, nothing been done. Hadn't seen anything there. Lower the speed limit, 162, near the churches. I'd asked the board several years ago, at least you can talk to DOT to see if something can be done about that. Just like I said, thank you for the sound system. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Tiffany Benton. I live
evening.
15 Winchester Drive, Covington, Georgia, Winchester Park subdivision. I wasn't going to get up here, but I feel moved to say something. When Elena Sanders came knocking on my door to run to represent District 3, I didn't know her. I asked her one question. Are you going to be another politician that gets my vote and does nothing for my community? And when I say nothing, I'm talking about what the community is requesting, not just, you know, road improvements to our roads or whatever. The community wants a park. I said, you're gonna have to work for my vote, as did my homeowners association president, as did many people in my community and neighboring communities. So I feel like she is just the spokesperson for what our community asked her for and what we are holding her accountable for. She's working for our vote. And so I feel bad for what has transpired, because these are the things that we consistently hold her accountable for. We check in with her, where are we at with our park? I shouldn't have to go to 30 minutes, 15 minutes away to take my kids to a park so they can ride the swing and throw a football. So those are the things that we have asked her for. I'm disappointed, but I am encouraged because I know that change can come. During COVID, it was suggested that if people walk, that it would help to keep their lungs clear. I and my kids went over to Newton High School to walk because there's no walking trail, there's no sidewalks, there's nothing. The sheriff that monitors the property said not only me, but everybody that was there walking the perimeter of the school, we had to leave because we weren't allowed to be on school property to walk. So I'm saying, well, where are we supposed to walk? There's no sidewalks. We want to be outside getting exercise. There's nowhere for us to go. So I would submit to the board that the West Side Youth Facility, the park, all of this has been requested of Elena Sanders' constituents. We are holding her accountable. We are going to continue to hold her accountable, and we just want the board to work together for the good of the citizens. Like I said, I've raised 4 kids in Newton County. I love Newton County, and I want Newton County to love me back. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anyone else?
Hi, my name is Carla Hooper. I represent all of Newton County. I've also watched what's been going on, and I truly believe that no commissioner is against a park in District 3, 2, 4, 1, or 5. I know that everyone here believes in children, believes in youth. I think we need to just have a clean slate I think the citizens, yes, we hold our commissioner accountable. We also want transparency from our commissioner and everyone. We need the narrative to be clear. All of the division that happens on social media, YouTube videos, comments, it's not helping. If there's a hidden agenda, we don't know about it. All we know is that we have raised our children in this county. No one, and I believe this because I have listened to you, no one is in disagreement for a youth center. No one is. I know they aren't. I think some apologies just need to be made. We need to open our minds, bring the citizens together, community partners together, business together, and let's talk about what the center will look like. If it has to be a YMCA, let it be a YMCA. If it doesn't, it doesn't. We do not care. We just want what's best for our youth. We do not want any more hyperbole going out. We don't want a narrative being created. We don't want racist statements being put out where people are pulling back their land. I take that very seriously. My father marched with Martin Luther King. We cannot do that. Let's just stop because we're not making progress. There's a process in place. There are people in our community who know how to do this. Let's just do it. And again, if it has to be a Y, if it has to be a Boys and Girls Club, because I really don't think the county is ready to run it. That's just my opinion. But let's let go of our own agendas. Whatever we think hidden agendas are, let it go and let God take care of it, because all of you guys are Christians. You know what's done in the dark will make itself to the light. Let's just focus on our youth. There is no division because I know your hearts. You guys, none of them are against the young people. They are not. They are not. It's clean slate. Say your apologies and let's get rid of all of our agendas and make it one agenda. Get off social media, one agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening.
Good
Debbie
evening.
Harper. I live at 100 Bear Creek Walk and president of the Newton Chamber. Just a couple of things. I wanted to thank you all for doing the work session earlier, getting that addressed so quickly for some residents that had that concern. So thank you all for that. I look forward to working with the Planning Commission on that and helping out our trade service workers. And also, I sent you all an email earlier today just stating if you have constituents in need help of filing for a business license for receiving of ARPA funds, if they're a nonprofit other than a church or a business, you can direct them to me. You have my office number and my email address. Thank you for getting out the nonprofit applications today. I have shared that with our chamber members. It'll go out in several emails from us. And I just wanted to thank you all for that work and those things that have happened pretty quickly. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Edwards. Commissioner Mason? No comment. Commissioner Sanders?
I just want to thank the residents of Newton County who came out to the Newton Community Health and Wellness Fair on this weekend. We had an amazing time. We had fitness professionals that came in. Some of my fitness friends actually taught those classes, and they actually plead to our Parks and Rec director, some of the residents, saying we need group fitness in Newton County, which I've been saying since I've been here in 2021, that we need group fitness classes for those to take those various classes and to get fit and healthy. So hopefully we can look into that and have those things come to Newton County so we can be a part of the health and wellness team. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Commissioner Henderson?
Thank you, Mr. C. Well, first of all, I just want to thank my colleague, Commissioner Sanders, for the work that she's trying to do in District 3. And I agree with the young lady who said that we need to do something for our kids, our youth. We do something for our seniors. And we need to help people who need help. We definitely need to do that. You know, and I think right now with the county, it's $150 for a child to play football, maybe baseball, maybe even cheerleading. I think that's too much when you look at the other counties who pay about $80. And I do know that even if we had a Boys and Girls Club, we had to pay additional monies. I want to make it free. I want to make it free, whereas any kid in Newton County, instead of running around the street trying to get in trouble, can go play sports if they want to, he or she, in our communities. And I think that's what we need to work on. I think we got the best recreation department. I think we've got the best county employees in the whole wide world. But we've got to support them. We got to make stuff a little easier for our kids to participate in too as well. And so, you know, we can sit around and talk all day, but talking doesn't get the job done. We have to go out and do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Cowan. Thank you. And I think the sheriff pulled his item for executive session, so we don't need it. Okay. I seek a motion that we adjourn. Second. It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Mason. All in favor? We stand adjourned. Fast 5-0.